So here's a brief overview of Unit 1. We'll begin by exploring this left-hand shuffle accompaniment, which comes into play in this coordination exercise that comes up next. And you'll also use it in this more soloistic shuffle solo that I put together. You'll finish the unit by working with a YouTube recording that I created that will help you learn to play What Is This Thing Called Love in 3 keys by ear. And if Unit 1 feels torturously slow for you, don't get discouraged. Take all the time you need. Just stay at it until you break through the wall and learn some really important new skills in the process. I think Units 2 and 3 will feel much the same way. After that, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by how your pace picks up. By that time, you'll be on a roll. Okay, let's get into Unit 1, which begins with a shuffle accompaniment. I'm sure you've heard something like this. This is a very bare bones accompaniment. Etc. I'm offering 3 ways for you to consider playing this left-hand accompaniment. I think the first time I played this accompaniment, I tried playing it in the way that's indicated in the book first, where you have your 5th finger and your thumb in a 5th, and you just expand your hand. That seems like a natural decision. I think you should try it. In my experience, I haven't really gotten great results with this particular fingering or way of playing it. I find that my left-hand accompaniment will lose some of its focus. There'll be inconsistencies. I can't nail the accompaniment and really get a groove going. The next fingering that I'm offering is like this. We have the 5th finger on the bottom, 2nd finger, and then you switch to your thumb when you're going to the interval of a 6 with the D on top. So in this, for this F7 chord, your index finger is on C, moving to your thumb on D. I like this fingering. It seems like it's a natural, but I must confess that sometimes there are like little hesitancies in my left hand with this fingering. This 3rd fingering, you're going to try and probably scratch your head. What is he thinking? That's where my thumb is on C and my index finger is crossing over. At first, it really feels funny, and it may get uncomfortable at times. I have to say that this fingering is the one that is usually the most consistent for me. And I picked up on it by watching some pianist in a video. I thought, what's going on there? I'm looking and I'm seeing this approach to it. So I tried it. I'd like you to try it too. What I've discovered is the more I use this 3rd fingering of 5 and 1, crossing over with 2, the more I do that, strangely, the better I play the previous fingering. And what I think it is this claw-like approach promotes some sort of bigger motion that is useful. And the more you play it this way, that bigger motion becomes a habit when you go back to perhaps a more comfortable fingering. None of it really helps me here, though. Notice how I kind of end up staying flat. You'll find that that gets away from you. So try these second two fingerings and favor the third for a while. And when you do that, I think you'll get a bigger motion, a little wrist motion that helps keep this left hand steady and consistent. Okay, the coordination exercise. Well, there are a couple of aspects of this. First of all, let's make sure that you've got this left hand accompaniment solid enough where you can move it around. We've got the pattern moving around harmonically every measure. And while it starts on an F7, these coordination exercises are actually in the key of C. So we're starting on the 4 chord. 4, 1, 5, 1. This is like a jamming progression that you'll hear from time to time. Anyway, as you're working on this, it's this move right here. And remember, if we're kind of using this hinging motion, you're going to go from that position to that position to get from F to C. And at the end of measure 2, you're going to go from this position where you're going to be kind of hinged up and kind of releasing on the G. And then sort of in that hinged position. So work with that. Eventually, I think you'll be able to move around to the different chords comfortably. Now, getting the hands coordinated. That's so important. If you're going to groove, it has to be coordinated. If we were to put a synonym for groove, it would be coordinate. Make sure things are coordinated. So you've got a triplet pulse in your right hand. If you can just slow down and line things up for a beat. Well, I did it for 2 beats. So all that is you should be able to tap it out, on the fall board or in your lap. Take that to the piano. Go ahead and let's see a lot of movement. Staccato, I think, if you play it staccato, we'll see more movement. Should feel like that. So, a little forearm, a twist action. And it should come together. Now, I'm just putting my fingers over the notes in this way. That might be a nice way to prepare this. Now your fingers are in position. Now play the individual notes the same way. There it is. And you don't get extra points for going fast. Doesn't need to be fast. It just needs to be coordinated. A lot of really great blues playing is done slowly and sounds maybe more credible when it's slow. So that's the first part, and lots of repetition. The repetition goes hand in hand with grooving. You know, if you want to measure your abilities as a grooving pianist, so much of it has to do with how long you can sustain a groove. I found that once you get in the groove, the longer you play, the better it gets. So as we move on to the second part of this, we're taking the C blues scale for an entire octave. So let's block it out. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4 on these notes, and just 1, 2, 3 on the top 3 notes. The first 4 notes, and just like we did with the chromatic scale. Maybe we try that. Now let's open up and play the individual notes, staccato. There's a little bit of a hesitation down here. I think I was looking, and one of the ways to break out of that is just more emphatic motion. Get a little dance going. Start with your hands, but then, maybe get your body into it. Dancing and grooving will keep you from thinking. It's when you start thinking about it that the coordination absolutely blows up in your face. All right. I think if you practice the first page of the coordination that way, the second page should be pretty easy. It's more of this just, the last one, it's like a little guitar lick. Kind of makes it sound like we're bending a note, but it's all the same. So amplify your movement, amplify the feeling of the subdivision and the groove. Once you put it together and line things up, stop thinking and just enjoy the movement and the feeling of it. I know that it sounds like a lot of hooey, but it's actually how it works. And you'll have to think about it carefully when you line things up. But just like in the way we worked on chords, once you've spelled it, start thinking about how you can know how this feels, like the muscle memory of it. And gosh, there's also, it's the blues, so there's just a whole aesthetic to take in too. So get into the groove, take your time, and dance your way forward. All right, shuffle number 1 in C. This is less of an etude and the beginning of what will be a larger piece. What I've done is I've just broken down a little bit of this longer piece. You'll get a little bit of it in this unit, a little bit more in subsequent units. So I think with this one, a lot of the coordination will transfer into the piece. You've already done that previously in the coordination exercise. What happens in the second measure, let's see if we can choreograph that. You'll be in this position. Maybe come over like that. So if we were to block it out, you're going to be here, and then so we're pivoting around the thumb, and then measure 3. This time we're going to come over with our, I think, third finger to prepare for this octave. Now, if I were to block this out, I would block it out the following way. I think you might need to kind of pivot a little bit, pivot your body over so that you can easily get your thumb on this C. Do you see how that's where you want to end up? So get there sooner. Okay, new position in measure 5. There's an example where I'm sliding. Not difficult. Here we have some choices in measure 6. Try it this way. So you're going to be there. You see how I'm blocking it out? And by all means, listen to the recording of this. Don't try to do it all with your eyes. I wrote these out in 12/8 so that you could see where things lined up. I didn't want to use swing notation because I found that confuses issues as much as it may simplify the way it looks. We start to miss like exactly where things go. So while this is more complicated to look at, it will show you how things line up a little bit more clearly. I know that seems like a contradiction, but jump in and I think you'll see that it's true. Anyway, make sure to listen to the recordings. All right, once we get to measure 7, this is a very strange thing to notate. And I'm just sliding. Rhythmically, what I'm going for is so all of that goes down at the same time. think if you listen to that, you'll get it. Yeah, this is not coming before the downbeat. You know, it's beat 3 in 12/8. It's not coming, it's coming right on it. It may look like it's supposed to come sooner. It's not. And the little hint on the last part of measure 8 is to set you up for what's coming next. And this last assignment in Unit 1 is kind of daunting. Play What Is This Thing Called Love, the Cole Porter tune, by ear in 3 different keys. Why would I ask you to do this? And why would I ask you to do this so early on? Well, I find that most people are more limited by their beliefs than their abilities. It turns out that if you can play a tune like this by ear, if you can learn it and input it and get comfortable in 3 keys, what happens is you can then find it in any key. And if you don't believe me, stick with the process. As I said in the introduction, learning to play jazz piano is a process. So don't give up on the process. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this out of your head. So many people want to deal with transposition in some sort of mathematical, theoretical, or algebraic way, and it makes them feel smart to analyze the piece. Well, I'm not against analysis, but I think you have to start by trusting your ear. And most people don't, it seems. Some people do, God love them, but we all need to. It's amazing what we can do. So you'll notice I have my laptop set up. In a minute, I'll show you how you might work on all of this at the piano with your smartphone. But by having the laptop going, I can actually navigate on YouTube so that you can work with that play along. I'll show you how to make the most out of what I've put up on this YouTube video. So let's dive into it. So here we are. This is the first one, and we're just going to work on the chord roots only. And I'm going to open up this window a little more where it says More. And if we do that, you can see this allows you to quickly jump from one key to the next. If you start at the beginning, it'll just go through the roots in the key of D, key of F, and then key of A flat. If you feel like you need to review key of D, you can just come back to this link and go right to it. So I'm not going to think about this. I'm just going to play along. So here we go. Let me find that first note. Okay, well, I got lucky. I was in the wrong octave, but here we go. That's our first note. So start and stop as much as you need to. Don't feel like you have to prove anything. There's no rush on this. Go slow at first. Be clear, be confident. Okay, it's like I'm cheating. I know how the tune goes. It's going to be different for you. You might decide, oh, wait a minute, why is it going so fast? Well, if it's frustrating, come over here to settings, playback speed. I've got it on normal. Maybe take it to half speed or 3/4 speed. Maybe that makes it a little bit more manageable. So do whatever you need to get familiar with the sound of the movement of those roots for the tune. At some point, you might be surprised by this, but at some point, you start to hear the pattern better if you go faster. So with the roots, at some point, just start going faster. You might find that you start to relate the pitches. Sometimes if you just are going slow all the time, you start thinking one note at a time. And it's just like chord practice. If you're doing everything individually, everything kind of continues to be separate. At some point you want to organize this, and as you hear it faster, let's go to twice as fast. Now that's the first 8 bars of the tune. You start to hear it like a melody. So the tune is structured so that the harmony moves the same way in the second 8 bars as it does in the first 8. Listen to it. So if you get the first 8 bars together, you've got, well, more than half of the tune, because you come back to that for the last 8 bars. This is the middle section. Right? There you have it. And I would probably just keep, coming back to the beginning for key of D until that really settles in. And then once you get comfortable with that, it's time to kind of take it to the next level. All right, find it in F. Wait a minute. Wow, I got lucky again. Give yourself a moment to find the new key, and you'll find that you learned a lot from playing it in D. By the time you get to the key of A flat, you'll be hearing this important harmonic structure of the tune pretty clearly. And at that point, it's time to move on to what is this thing called love, melody, and roots. And I'm going to get it sounding better by having it at the normal playback speed. So now you've internalized the roots. Now it's time to find that melody. And maybe take a break from playing the roots. Just follow the melody. So you're probably going to be practicing the melody more slowly. Also, each of the 8-bar phrases of the melody ends differently. Listen for that. But you should be able to find the melody by ear pretty well. And then when you get to the key of F, it'll be familiar, but you'll have to to really fine tune the details. By the time you're playing the melody and the roots of this tune in all three of these keys, try just starting the roots on any note. And I'll bet you can find the root motion. And once you do that, see if you can add the melody. I don't think it'll take you as long as you think. So just as a reminder, I have this computer out so that I could capture the navigation on YouTube while I was playing and demonstrating here. I think the better option is probably to access the YouTube videos using your smartphone. You can play them just like that. Oh yeah. There we are. And of course, if you've got earbuds or in my case, I have AirPods, which are nice, so I can hear the recording especially clearly, but I can also still hear the piano. So that's fast, it's easy. Keep in mind that that the sooner you start practicing, the sooner the fun will begin. So I think probably using your smartphone is going to be a great way to work on these transposition assignments. But also, you know, if you're doing working on some of the pieces with play-alongs, go ahead and access that smartphone. I probably don't need, you probably didn't need me to tell you that.